Today we're taking a look into one of the most underrated and tinnitus producing jobs in the United States Armed Forces. If you've ever wanted to know what it's like to be partially deaf, constantly sweaty, and perpetually tired, well, this is the job for you. Roll the B-roll. Hell yeah, finally talking about field artillery. King of battle? Dude, I'm gonna need you to calm down. Specifically, we're talking about the Army's 13 Bravos and Marine Corps' 0811s. First of all, props to the Marine Corps for always nailing it with the MOS names. Field Artillery Cannoneer just sounds way cooler than Cannon Crew Member. And trust me, that name is gonna be the thing you cling to when you're wondering why you signed up for this, because let's be real, this job freaking sucks a lot of the time. If you like hard work, being outside all day, and hanging out with some of the most lovingly hateful people you've ever met, well, this job is for you. If not, well, maybe rethink your life choices. This job is a lot like being a roughneck in an oil field, except with a lot less pay, copious amounts of gunpowder, and guaranteed hearing loss. And make no mistake, when you're firing off 100 pounds of gunpowder in a second, your ears are gonna take a beating. Hearing protection only does so much, and in no time at all, you're gonna be saying,
"You okay? You alright?"
"What?" more times than you care to admit. But on the upside, at least you'll get jacked. Moving 100-pound artillery shells 100 times a day tends to have that effect on people. Forget paying for a gym membership, join the King of Battle and get paid to work out, hit the sauna, and hit a cold immersion while you're at it. And if the promise of paid bodybuilding isn't incentive enough, well, at least the job is safe. Safe? Hold on. 1 second. Did you write safe in that script? 1 second. Yeah, hold on, that's a typo. There's nothing safe about this job at all. You're surrounded by literal tons of explosives, running on 4 hours of sleep in the past 36. And while you're daydreaming about the sweet embrace of a pillow, you're still the one having to make sure that that crater lands exactly where it needs to be, up to 15 miles away. And if that wasn't enough, you're gonna be doing this in every type of miserable environment you can think of. Deserts? Check. Woodlands? Check. Frozen hellscapes? Winter wonderlands? Check. Basically, if the weather sucks, you're gonna be there. About 25% of your time is gonna be spent in these lovely locations, so get used to the idea of sweating, freezing, or, and I don't even know how this is possible, but doing both at the same time. And that's all during the hurry up and wait phase of the operation. Because when there's no one to blast into oblivion, you'll be pulling extra duties like patrols, guard duty, and all those other delightful tasks that have nothing at all to do with firing big guns. But it's not all negative because let's be honest, nobody picks this job because it's fun, easy, or glamorous. You choose to be field artillery because you've got the burning desire to turn what once was into what now isn't. Sure, the infantry might be the ones finding the enemy, but when it comes time to wipe out a whole bunch of bad guys in under 2 minutes flat, there's only one tool to reach for. When you need something completely obliterated, field artillery is the hammer you break out. While the infantry holds tight, field artillery are the ones flipping the switch on enemy existence. Although if we're being technical, they're not actually flipping a switch. They're yanking on a lanyard. In an age where drones and smart bombs do most of the heavy lifting, these guys are still out there using a piece of rope to reshape the landscape. It's like the world's deadliest game of tug of war. And if anyone's dumb enough to play stupid games with these long-range freedom dispensers, well, they've got a few options to choose from. First up, we've got the M119A3. This is a 105mm light-towed howitzer that's anything but light when making things disappear. It's the lightweight champ of the artillery world, but don't let that fool you. When it speaks, the enemy listens. Or, well, they would if they weren't too busy running for cover or being reduced to a fine mist. Or if someone done really messed up.
"You done messed up, Aaron!"
Well, that's when the big girl comes out. Meet the M777A2, which can crank things up in a big way with 155mm of raw firepower. This is what you bring in when you want to make sure that the enemy regrets every life choice that led them to that moment. Because no matter how tough or how badass you think you are, no one is having a good day when the King of Battle comes out to play. Indirect fire is so good at what it does that literally the only thing you can do when you hear overhead is to make peace with your choices and let it play out. Because when those rounds are inbound, you're not running, you're not hiding, You're just laying down and hoping that some divine intervention screws up the math from the sender.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Although I wouldn't count on that because in the land of supersize and extra cheese on everything, the term fire for effect is more like standard operating procedure. That's how America gets down. They sling shells like a private slings cash on payday. Fast and furious and with pure reckless energy.
That's my credo. No regrets.
Now those rounds don't just magically find their way into the enemy's personal space. It takes an entire crew of highly trained, slightly insane individuals to get one of these instruments of destruction to play a decent tune. Prepping the rounds, loading the cannon, and firing, all of these things have got to be smoother than a politician dodging a straight answer.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And
When it all comes together, it's like watching synchronized swimming, but with less water and more gunpowder. And if you want to see what perfect unison looks like, then check out this Marine Corps crew. These guys fired off 15 rounds faster than the rest of the battery could manage 9. It's this kind of performance that makes you question your own life choices. Like, I mean, look at this dude right here. Just him, just right there. Just casually tossing 95-pound shells into the breech of that 777 like he's loading groceries in the back of a minivan. And don't even get me started on that section chief. That dude sacrificed his vocal cords like he was auditioning to play R. Lee Ermey in a Full Metal Jacket sequel. But hands down, the real MVP here has got to be this dude, the Rammer, aka Wolfie. I don't know what kind of super soldier serum they've got in that 29 Palms water supply, but this guy did a 2-man job by himself faster than the rest of the entire battery. Seriously, if the military could bottle whatever he's got, we'd have an entire army of super soldiers in no time. Ultimately, nobody gets into this job for fame, glory, or even the prospect of landing a sweet civilian gig afterwards. Because let's face it, field artillery doesn't exactly translate to a LinkedIn profile like some other MOSs do. Sure, you'll walk away with a back made of steel and a collection of stories that would make a Hollywood screenwriter blush, but unless there's suddenly a booming market for human forklifts or long-range demolition experts, you might need to reconsider your post-military career plans. But for the rare breed that takes on this demanding job, there's nothing that compares to the rush you get when you finally get to fire. When you finally get to grip that lanyard and twist your hips and yank and feel that round fire off with that shockwave just coursing through your entire body, there's nothing else like it. It's a sensory overload that you just won't find anywhere else. All right, dude, dang, we get it. You like field artillery. Why are you sweating so much? All right, well, that's all I got for y'all today. I know I didn't touch on the self-propelled howitzer this time because, well, I already made a video on that beast. So if you haven't already seen it, go check out the M109 video. All right, CT6 out.
Four, five, two. 452! 452!